Am I the asshole for telling my wife not to talk to my dad, but I will continue to? A month ago my oldest turned 16. For his 16th birthday, the plan was to let him skip school, get to the DMV when it opens, take the driving test, go on a small road trip, be back around when school gets out and then all go out for a family dinner. On the weekend would be his celebration with his friends. Skipping school for the DMV test was planned in advance, but the road trip was a surprise. A few days before the road trip my wife asked me to take our 3-year-old with me that day. I said I wasn't taking a toddler to the DMV, that place is a cesspit. Also the road trip is for additional driving practice before he's able to drive unsupervised. A toddler distracting him is not a good idea. My wife said she wanted the day to herself, and if I wasn't willing to take our toddler, the birthday stuff needs to be moved to the weekend so I can. I said I would take our toddler to work with me the next day, but our oldest's birthday is his day, so he's the priority. She got angry and said she's made 100 sacrifices for our kids, and saying she isn't a priority. Not what I said is disgusting. It was a big fight. My son's birthday she texted me that I'm an asshole multiple times. At the dinner she was in a bad mood. After everyone ate my dad asked us all to go out to the parking lot. He handed the keys to his car to my son, saying he was getting a new one. He also said he would continue to pay the insurance for a year. My wife asked me if I knew about this, and I didn't. She didn't believe me. My wife has called and texted my dad multiple times asking if he is going to do this for all of our kids, saying he shouldn't have done this without asking us first, and telling him if he can't do this for all the kids, he needs to take the car back. Eventually he told her shut up and stop bothering him. My wife told me I need to stop talking to my dad. She said he used offensive language. He texted stop bothering me woman, which she says is sexist towards her, and I need to support her. I said she needs to stop talking to my dad, not me. I'll support her not talking to him. My wife said I am disrespecting her, that I won't listen when she says she needs help and let my family treat her poorly. I think she is creating these situations herself. She looks for offense and then finds it. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. I can't believe anyone would think that taking the 3-year-old to your older son's driving test and road trip on his birthday would be the time for a break. That's a punishment for your older child. This whole thing smells of something bigger. Is your older son hers biologically? Not the asshole. Take the toddler to the DMV and road trip. And why does her time to herself have to be that day specifically? Couldn't she get another day to herself? Yes, your son's birthday is the priority. Agree. I'm a mom, by the way, if that matters. The thing about the car I can understand about the other kids, but she shouldn't have handled it the way she did. I honestly would have just been grateful. Seems like she likes to look for or create issues. Okay, the dad called her woman, geese, everyone saying he's sexist. She was, and it was a generous gift, and she was disrespectful. If any of this is true, there's definitely missing information. Info. How often does your wife get a break? How does your dad speak to your wife? Does he use women often to refer to her when speaking about her or to her? Is your dad one to treat women as hysterical nitpicking hens when they rightfully bring up serious things? Because she is correct about one thing. He should have told y'all about this big gift. And y'all should have been able to discuss an idea of what to do for the other kids at that time when they reached the same milestones, because now a precedent has been set. Seems like some info is missing. Info. Was your wife part of the initial planning for your son's birthday, or was that planned between you and your oldest? Also, has your father ever mentioned helping get all the kids' cars when they turn 16, or brought the issue up at all? Not the asshole, but something is off with your wife. I would check in. It seems like there must be a lot more going on in the background for her. Also, as someone who makes a big fuss on my kid's birthday, I can't understand her request to move his birthday plans. Info. Does your wife get a lot of time to herself? You say you have 6 kids. I assume they're hers as well. You're going on a road trip with your child but she's not involved. Will she be involved in her son's birthday in some way? Also, will your father be gifting the other kids the same way when their turn comes? That seems like a reasonable thing to discuss with the parents. Info: has your dad spoken to her or others like this before? Info: is your wife your son's mother? ESH: not sure why your wife needed that day to herself. But I would be furious if someone gave my kid a car without clearing it with both parents first. If she refuses to give your son that kind of freedom responsibility, she is the bad guy. Your father should know better, and should never shut her down like that. If this story is true, your wife sounds exhausting. No one is going to stop talking to their dad because he referred to someone as woman, especially after being badgered with relentless calls and texts. Not the asshole. I'm not sure what's going on with her with the 3-year-old or whatever, but I have to say I do agree with her about giving the kid the car. What happens when the other kids get older and they don't get a car for their birthday? There is problem with your dad behavior towards your wife, but also IDK why your wife wanted to move your son's birthday to have that day for herself. Quite weird. I feel like something missing. ESH: I guess quite everyone wrong here. I'm a husband and father and this is definitely not the whole story. Info: why doesn't your wife like your eldest son? Because basically, she said I don't want his day to be all about him. My needs and wants are more important than his. I don't want him to have a new car and I'm going to choose to ruin his birthday dinner by sulking all the way through it. Oh, and I'm going to demand that the car gets taken away from him because I don't know, I want to punish him for being lucky enough to get one. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your wife kinda sucks. Not the asshole. Your son's birthday is not about your wife or toddler, nor is your dad giving your son a car about your wife or toddler. The way she acts about your son, it comes across as if she isn't his birth mother and is completely disconnected from him. The fact that she is his mother, this is just bizarrely entitled and incredibly rude. You even offered to give her a break the next day, but that wasn't good enough. Instead of being grateful to your dad, she started making demands. Is this new behavior? Or old behavior that you're just starting to realize isn't normal? Info: why is your wife so mad at your son? Has he been misbehaving or getting bad grades and thus not deserving of a new free car? Is she worried that you are spoiling him? Are the other children all females and she's worried the sexist grandpa will only favor the male kid? If you both share the child caring duties equally, why was she the one in charge of watching the toddler? How does she work if she needs to watch a toddler? Honestly, this story is way off and it feels you are withholding valuable information. Wife for changing plans and being grumpy. Husband, how you handled it all. Father giving car and the final response to your wife uncalled for. I'm wondering what info you left out. How often does wife get a break? Do you dismiss her feelings often? Do you side with your father over your wife often? Not the asshole for telling her she can stop talking to dad but you will continue to. Is your wife worried about your son driving? She seems to be emotionally triggered by it. It would be worth talking to her about it. Your wife is a hassle. And exhausting. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. My parents gifted us the car that my son is driving. My mom got a new one and gave him her old one. I would never think of demanding that they make the same arrangement for my other kid or take back the car. And I was never given a car new or old by my parents, but my brother was. He needed one. I didn't. And my parents have done lots to help each of us out over the years. Maybe your dad should have talked to you guys first and let him know that was his plan, but I think your wife was out of line for chewing him out.